Nice. Hi, everyone. I'm Zainab, a Cohort 5 History Fellow with HTF. Thanks so much for joining our second ever installment of what was initially HTF Live, but due to some problems with the software, it's now going to be a pre-recorded video, so it's HTF Live-ish, is what we're calling it. Thanks for the laugh. Nevertheless, I think you're really going to enjoy our talk today. With me digitally, I have Dr. Rhonda Bondie. Rhonda is a lecturer on education, specifically special education for the Harvard Teacher Fellows, and she's also the Director of Professional Learning at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and many other titles she holds. But a lot of her teaching and research focuses on ensuring that all learners are really valued, seen, heard, engaged, and stretched in inclusive classrooms, and that's something we'll talk about today. Without saying much else, hi, Rhonda.
Hey, hello, everyone.
Yes, to everybody listening to Live-ish with HTF. I'll just jump straight into our questions for you. My first question is, why did you choose to join HTF? And how did you join the team, I guess?
Well, I used to offer professional development in New York City, and one of the avid teachers who attended my professional learning was Noah Heller, HTF's director. And so Noah and I have stayed friends for many years. And when he moved to Harvard to work with the Harvard Teacher Fellows, he told the faculty, we have to have Rhonda. And so they called me, and I was excited to continue working with him. And so Noah is the one who brought me from New York, and I moved from New York. And I was really attracted to HTF because I feel like the Harvard College experience and the liberal arts education that you all work so hard to achieve through HTF can be distributed to large numbers of people. And many people can feel like they have access and an understanding of what that type of learning that you've done at Harvard can do for just ways of thinking and understanding the world. And so I'm just so excited to be a part of supporting you and sharing your experiences and your knowledge.
We feel a lot of the support coming from you guys, especially you. Building a bit off of the bio that I shared, the super short bio, I'm curious if you could tell us a bit more about what you do, specifically about differentiated learning and instruction, what that is and why it's important.
I think one of the my biggest contributions to the field is a new definition for differentiated instruction. So not focusing on like a bag of strategies or tricks, but thinking about differentiated instruction as a continuing decision-making process where teachers perceive and learn from the students. They listen, learn, then make deliberate decisions to ensure that all students are valued, stretched, and engaged in every lesson. So really focusing on teacher thinking and how teachers decide to adjust instruction. So I have a variety of routines that we use for learning, and those routines enable teachers to better listen and learn with and from the students while we're teaching.
Rhonda routines, right?
And I like to call them Rhonda routines. In a moment, if you're ever having trouble, a Rhonda routine will get you time to think, so you can determine how to set things in a new and very solid direction.
I'm excited to learn a lot more about these throughout. Well, I'll be taking a class with Rhonda soon, so hopefully I'll learn some of these.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's one of the fun things about HTF is you work with me in these little modules, but it's constant. I'm with you all of the time.
Yeah. I'm curious, specifically with differentiated instruction or just in general with the field of education, how you see distance learning and COVID-19 pandemic affecting the K through 12 education system. What you've observed, if you have any predictions or thoughts that you'd be willing to share.
One of my big worries is that it won't change the system at all, that people are just waiting for the opportunity to return. And I really hope that that doesn't happen. I see the move to online learning as this opportunity for what I like to call boundaryless learning, right? We can configure students in ways that brick and mortar classrooms and zip codes limit. So, for example, a teacher teaching at one school may have a highly developed expertise in a certain topic, and they could share that with many more students that aren't necessarily in that one zip code. So I think this offers us, like, systematically an opportunity to provide greater equity, to access to resources, greater opportunities to reorganize and really rethink our curriculum, rethink organizing learning by student interest, for example, and teacher expertise, just to really take a moment to think about the boundaries that we consider fundamental to public schools in the US could be disrupted. This is a great opportunity. It's like having taught for 30 years in the public schools, it's so hard to disrupt a system that turns out in a particular way. And to me, this is just like such a great opportunity. And I hope that teachers and parents together and community leaders embrace this idea of, wow, you know, this does present an opportunity for us to really reimagine how the systems and structures that support learning.
I think that's a very helpful perspective for us, just because I think, or I mentioned this before we started the interview, but I think I tend to have more of a deficit mindset with everything that's going on. But I think you're sharing that there are certain opportunities for like fundamental change and rethinking for the better, which is exciting to think about.
Yeah, I think now is the time to go for a system level change, and not to focus so much on what tools we're using or need, or those are small things, and those things come and go all the time. But it's hard to find, an opportunity for a big system level change. And I hope people can really go after it.
Hopefully. Yeah, if people who are listening at home, good time to get into education, right? Yeah.
Get involved.
Right.
Think differently.
Yeah, for sure. Next question, second to last question, I guess. I'm curious what you've learned from observing HTF fellows, like just how they grow and what their experience is like from you as a faculty member and as a friend.
I think one thing I've learned is how important risk-taking is and how risky teaching really is. It is very hard not to teach in the way that you were taught as a child, and to teach in the way that can be very successful, whether or not it is engaging and relevant to the students before you. And it's like it's in our body. It's like we have muscle memory from the way that we've spent our whole lives learning. So we have actually tons of teaching experience. So I think a critical thing is unlearning what you know, probably unconsciously, because many of the decisions we make in the classroom are fast thinking, so they're made unconsciously, and they're using that wealth of experience we have. So I think it takes a lot of risk taking to like really try something new, try something that you haven't seen or experienced yourself. And then, so I think risk taking is super important. And the other thing is the importance of reflection, not evaluation, right? Reflecting is very different than judging yourself. And there's lots of, you can leave that to your principal once a year on your evaluation. You don't need that daily, and you don't need that after every lesson. But what you do need is reflecting on what you heard students saying, what you saw students doing, and let the students be the primary way let them be the mirror. You look into the students, listen and say, what do student responses tell me about my own teaching? What do students' responses tell me about their learning? And so if you focus on the student work, you can learn a lot about yourself as the teacher. And student responses, you can learn a lot. And that is reflection, which is very different than evaluation. So I've had to spend a lot of time with HTF fellows. They want to be good and they want to be correct, and to think more about things as reflection, like what do the student responses tell me? What can I learn? And focusing on being a learner and keeping in that learning cycle and leaving judgment to the side. It's really not that useful.
Right. Doesn't serve too much, I think.
I learned that. I learned that from talking and working with the HTF fellows. So I'm grateful for their help in teaching me.
Right. And the meta, like, teacher-student relationship. That dialogue happens on a lot of layers, I guess.
Yeah, but we're watching a lesson or a lesson plan, and I'd be like, wait a minute. What did we hear? You know, and then I started to learn. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I think my final question, if we have time, let's see, we do have time. If you have just one favorite story or just a good memory from your time with HTF so far.
Well, I have tons of them, and I love every cohort has been completely different. But one of my favorite stories is I had come from New York City to teach the first HTF cohort. And I was just walking down the street in Cambridge, and I hadn't really been to Cambridge much. And they were driving in a car, and they were coming this way, and I was walking, and they were like, Rhonda, and I was like, you drive? Because I taught in New York, and none of my students in New York ever had a car because I don't drive, I don't have a car. And they were like, yeah, and they were like, we're gonna professor nap you, get in. And they got out, and they had me get in the car, and I was like, wait, where are we going? What is happening? And they're like, Professor nap, and they're all cheering, and I was like, but we only actually went not very many feet because their dorm was right there. And then we all piled out of the car, literally we went around the corner, we piled out of the car, and they're like, come on, you have to have dinner with us. And so I had dinner with them, and then we did all of their lesson plans for Chelsea High School where they student taught. And it was so much fun. And I was in a dorm room. Harvard had me in a dorm room, and I was having peanut butter and jelly every night. And I was in my dorm room all by myself having my peanut. And we had burritos, we had really good food. And they're like, you can come back tomorrow night. We're gonna have lamb. Tony's dad is gonna be here. And I was like, okay. And so all summer I ate dinner with them in their kitchen. And it was so much fun, and we became great friends. And I think that my takeaway for you is that HTF is just not courses, and it's not a program, but it's a community of educators that you'll be a part of for your whole life. When COVID started, I reached out to that same cohort 1, and we got together, we caught up, and then we made lesson plans for switching to online together. And I just it's just so much fun. And I've done something different. I didn't get professor napped, only my cohort 1. But then the other cohorts, we've had cookie baking, or gone to conferences. And I think being a part of a community makes HTF a very different program.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm really glad to be part of the community, because I'm just not teaching in a program where I just go and teach and it's over.
Right. You're with us. We professor nap you sometimes.
Yeah, you can professor nap me.
Right.
We can do something digital.
Right. We'll find a digital birthday surprise or something like that. Yeah, we'll find ways.
Figure out something.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing some good stories and some good wisdom. And hope everybody got to listen / will listen as soon as I post this on Facebook. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and take care. I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks, Rhonda.
You're welcome.